Hi, you're listening to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Hello and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, author Vivian E. Moore. I hope everyone had a great week. I hope you're having a great weekend. So far we've gotten through the weekend without any severe storms, and I'm so happy to report that to you just in case you wanted the latest weather forecast from where I am here in the Tennessee Valley. But anyway, I hope that your weather is just as nice and you're enjoying the lockdown as much as you possibly can. You know, in our states, we're starting to open up some places, not the entire state, but just some areas in the state, in Tennessee and in Georgia and in other states across the country. I'm not sure if we're ready for that, but of course, it's not up to me. But at any rate, I am going to continue to stay isolated until I feel that it is safe, to venture back out into the real world. And until that time, I will continue to host this show and bring it to you weekly every Saturday at 6 p.m. So on that note, let's move on. All right, so the title of today's show is Haste Makes Waste, and the topic is dealing with deadlines. Deadlines, we all have them, but do we like them? I, for one, don't, but I do understand how important they are to keep us focused and on our toes. Deadlines are equivalent to expiration dates. If you miss the target, it may imply that you're not reliable. Reliability is a reasonable requirement for any agreement, and we all want to be recognized as an individual who keeps their promises, and it helps us to remain relevant. Not living up to them is the same like products that are past the sell-by date and thus no longer any good. At times, it seems as though the world and everyone in it needed it yesterday. Whatever the case may be, well, that might be so. But sometimes you must slow things down to a normal pace to get anything done. Now, we all know that. My mother always told me, don't rush to do anything. Take your time to make sure that it's right. Because she said, haste makes waste. And truer words have never been spoken. And so that's why I want to pass that on to you today. And yes, I know deadlines are crucial. They are critical in most cases. But still, we are all aware of how mistakes arise in the heat of the moment. No matter what type of deadline you're facing, don't rush it. One way to stay ahead of any potential crisis is through strategic planning. That suggests you'll need to manage your time in more skillful ways, and don't overload your schedule with too many impossible lists. Now, how many times have we done that? Taking on more than what we can chew. That's another one of my mother's quotes, and it's true. We want to make sure that we don't overload ourselves with too many things that that will slow us down, that will keep us from achieving our goal, because that in that way no one wins, and we all want to be winners. So speaking of lists, be sure to track your progress. That way you'll always stay ahead and never fall behind. Stay focused on your projects, and you should complete each task accordingly. follow through is important, guys. Very important. And also, communication is another critical factor and should always ensure that you and significant players remain clear on your and their expectations. Organization is another key element and quite helpful with maintaining deadlines. Disorganization can hamper your progress and creates unnecessary clutter when you need to keep a clear path for completion. Now, if you saw my desk right about now, you would think that I was the most unorganized person there ever was. But I have to say that it all makes sense to me. One person's clutter is another person's whatever. But this is just what I do. I can find every single thing that is on my desk. I know what this pile of work is and what this pile of work is. So I'm organized in my own special way. Maybe I don't have everything in its own little special bin, but it is in its own little special place. So, and only I know, that, where everything belongs. There is a method to my madness. So I just have to say that. But distractions are another roadblock for deadlines. Okay, I, for one, realize how hard it is to stay focused when life goes on around you. You still have to live outside of those deadlines. And so, we have those things too that we have to focus on that also needs our attention. But it's best to minimize distractions, i.e., cut back on how much time you spend surfing the net. Okay, that's a message for me because I am the world's worst person when it comes to distractions, and I try not to be. It's just my personality. I try to stay focused, so I have to do things to help me stay focused while I'm working. Also, be sure to eliminate all distracting components. Well, let me tell you what I did to add another distraction to my focus. I bought myself a television for my office. Well, mainly because in the morning times I like to watch the news. So I want to stay up to date on what's going on. And usually I don't even turn it on, during working hours. I keep it off because it is a distraction and it does pull me away from what I'm doing. And I don't like that because I may be easily distracted, but also I'm the type person, once I get started on doing something, I stick with it and I don't stop until I'm finished. So, I've taught myself to ways to stay focused while I'm working. And, so far as helping, I try to limit the amount of breaks that I take during the day, because when you do that, it sort of breaks your momentum. And I don't like that because when I'm working, I'm working. And if I have a deadline, I want to get everything that, that I've set as a goal for myself to complete it within that, that time frame, whether it's 8 hours or whatever, or however long it takes. I like seeing things through to completion. So even though I'm easily distracted, I still work hard to stay focused and to complete all the tasks that are on my list in a day. So time estimation is another excellent tool when dealing with deadlines. Also, it's a built-in safety feature that will keep you on target. Now, think of it as a fail-safe mode. A little extra time is another brilliant way to ensure you're always covered. So, if you pad in that extra time, then that means that, you'll never be late on an assignment. And, that goes for, if you are the type person who are inherently late all the time, always pad yourself just a little bit, maybe 10, 15 minutes. So that way, if you're late, you're still on time. You get it? Well, okay. I'm the type person, although I do have, I'm easily distracted, but I am always on time. I hate being late for anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't want to be late. And I don't want to make anyone else late either. So I always try to be on time, no matter where I'm going, no matter what it is. I always try to be there when I say I'm going to be there. And so that's why it's equally important to make sure that you're not rushing around trying to get trying to get tasks done. Right now I'm working on several ideas for a book, but I'm also working on editing of a book that is supposed to be out soon. Well, I said that back in January, and I felt as though I was rushing it. And when you rush things, you miss things, crucial things. And so, I pushed the time limit back. Because my thought process is that I would rather it come out later than what I had originally stated, than for it to come out, at the time that I promised, and it wasn't up to standard, and I can't have that, and I don't want that, for myself or for anyone else. I want to. Whenever I do something, I want to make sure that it is as close to perfect as I can get it. And I understand that perfection is a concept, but it's also something that is important. It is very necessary when you're dealing with with the publishing world. There will be mistakes. I've read plenty of books that had mistakes in them, but they were few and far in between, and that's how you want to keep it. So that's why it's important not to rush. No matter what you're doing, I'm talking to writers, but anyone else can relate to, what I'm saying. You want to make sure that you're not rushing through anything, because again, when you rush, you miss very important things. And you don't want to overlook anything. You want to make sure that all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed. That is just part of professionalism. You want to make sure that whatever your brand is a brand that that people can pass along to other readers. You want to make sure that it represents you in a positive light. No one wants to be slammed, not because they're not a great writer, but because, you're a great writer, but you didn't take the time to make sure that your work was edited properly. So that's very important. And, and I can't say it enough, and you'll probably get tired of hearing it, but I have to say this, and I know that you already know, these things, but it doesn't hurt to hear them again. And and that's part of my job, is to make sure that you're in tip-top shape, to make sure that you are the very best that you can be, because I want everyone to succeed. I want you to keep to the highest standards so you can succeed and be proud of your work. And let positive light shine on what you do, and instead of a negative light. So after you've achieved your deadlines, your goals, reward yourself with a celebration. Then you will be worthy and ready for your next project. All right. So folks, that's all I have for you today. But before I let you go, I want to make sure that I give you these URLs. And of course, the first one is Spreaker. And it is https://www.spreaker.com/user/author Vivian E. Moore. You can also like me on Facebook, and also follow me on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you have checked out my website lately, you notice that I've added another one to it, and that one is at https://www.authorehshepard.com. That's my pseudonym. But anyway, it will even if you put in Vivian E. Moore, authorvivianemore.com, it will still take you to that particular website. So there's two out there, but it'll take you to that one. It'll redirect you to that one, which is the newest one. And also, if you follow my blog, that is https://vivianemore.blogspot.com. I've already uploaded today's script there. So if you want to go out there and take a look at it, please feel free to do so. And also like it and share it. Also, Spreaker is not the only podcast available for my show. Also, iTunes. It's on iTunes. It's on iHeartRadio. It is on YouTube and SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and also Podchaser. So those are all of the different platforms where you can listen to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore. And I thank you so very much for downloading and liking the show. That's very important to me because it shows that you're listening, and not only are you listening, but you're downloading. So that lets me know that you like the show. And so I thank you so very much for that, because it's so important to me, to know that that I have so many listeners out there that appreciate what I do. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so very much. Also, tomorrow is worship day. Every day is worship day, but on Sundays especially. And of course, we're still not doing, we're still not congregating, in church. We are doing it over the phone, and you can do it, in many different ways, but we choose to do it over the phone, and that works well for us. And so, but still, if however you worship, just know that that is so important to invite people, to listen in with you, because you never know what people are going through, and the times now is just so dire, with this virus that's out there, and then unemployment and all of these things. I know I, for one, have a lot of things to be thankful for, and I am every single day, and I thank the Lord every day for His grace and His mercy. But still, there are so many people who are less fortunate, and so we need to make sure that we always lift them up in prayer and let them listen in on worship services, because it lifts spirits in so many different ways, because you never know who needs to hear what. And so when you invite them to listen in to the worship service, it may help them tremendously. It may help their spirit tremendously. So please do that. And also let children listen in too, because, children they may sometimes seem oblivious to what's going on, but believe me, they know what's going on. And if you're stressed, chances are they are too, because they pick up on your signals. Whatever it is that you're giving off, they feel it and they can see it. So let them listen in too, because it could also, strengthen their spirit, encourage them as well. And also tell someone that you love them, because tomorrow is not promised. Today may be the only chance you get to say that. So I love you. I hope you love me back. Until the next time you hear my voice, God bless you and goodbye.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.